So happy Saturday. I hope everybody is having a great weekend. This week ended up being kind of an expensive week for me. If you recall, a couple of weeks ago I mentioned that the brakes on my truck, I had a little bit of an issue. I had to go in and have them looked at. Well, this week I finally got them all swapped out and taken care of. And when I brought him in, the guy, he's like, that did the work for me, he's like, I'm surprised you're even able to drive here. He's like, everything was just completely rotted out, all four wheels completely rotted out. And he's like, yeah, I'm not a car guy, but basically the calipers, I think that's what he said. Basically they were just busted off, they rotted off, and were just kind of like spinning inside the drum. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a car guy, but he's like, I'm surprised they didn't get hot and just lock up on you. But anyways, so $2,300 later, I can stop again. I don't have any more grinding or kind of like on the pedal when you're stepping on the brake. So butter smooth now, but I guess I didn't realize the brakes were that expensive. But it is what it is, and that's I'm not really upset about that because I know that the guy that did the work, I know that the parts that he sourced for it, I know that they're really, really good stuff, and you're getting what you pay for. That's not what I'm a little I guess miffed about. The thing I'm really disappointed about is the truck only has 55,000 miles. I mean, and it's what? Granted, it's 6 years old, but it's only got 55,000 miles on it. Now, not a spot of rust anywhere on the truck, but yet all four of those brakes were just complete junk. I mean, they were completely rotted out. I don't know. When I was younger, when I was younger, but I mean, I've had cars that were, I've had over, 100,000 miles, never had an issue, never had to do the brakes, ever, ever, ever. And yet on this, 55,000 miles and they're toast? I don't know. Is that normal? I guess, I don't know. This is the first time I've ever had to run into that, and hopefully it's the last. Now, yesterday I finished laying up the glass over this floor. Now, this is going to be, hopefully, the insert that's going to be going in around that cockpit area to close up that storage area. Now, the layup on this, I'll admit, it's not the best. It's not the best. There are some little air pockets in here and, kind of all over the place, to be honest. But, I don't know. I mean, I kind of dicked around with this, trying to roll it out the best I could for probably an hour or so. At least until the epoxy started to get tight on me. And finally I had to just leave well enough alone. And, I guess the thing that isn't really bothering me too much about it is that it really doesn't matter if there's some defects in this, because really all this is going to be is just strictly a backer piece. It's not going to create any issues, like I said, because all the buildup to about a 1/4 inch thickness is all going to be done on the face, and all this is doing is just giving me something to lay the good glass on top of. So not too concerned about it. But I will say, I was kind of hoping to be able to pop this off of this. You can see on the inside here, there's the part that I had cut out from that well when I was doing the stringer repair. I was kind of hoping that I'd be able to, pop this off of that form, I guess, today. But, and I'll go over all this in the video that's going to be coming out on Monday. But the reason that I don't want to do that yet today is because the epoxy is still a little bit tender. I ended up going with a slow hardener, the Total Boat Their slow hardener, just so that I'd have the added working time. Like I said, I was kind of trying to roll the air out for close to an hour. If I had not used the slow epoxy, I wouldn't have been able to get that much working time. So just for the sake of, I don't want to risk, trying to pop this off and then, kind of have it. Well, let me back up. So when I pop this off, what I'm hoping is going to happen is that I know there's going to be some spring back, but I'm hoping that for the most part, it's going to hold its shape. Now, the longer I let this epoxy cure, the better off, or the better my chances are going to be that it's going to hold its shape more than not. So I was hoping to be able to include this part, kind of removing it and actually kind of doing a bit of a fit in the locker area for this video that's coming out on Monday. But I think it would be very prudent of me just to leave this sit for probably 2 or 3 more days, and just let the epoxy set up a little bit more. Like I said, I'm just feeling it now. I can still feel it's a little bit tender. It's gonna cure, but right now it's using the slow hardener It's only 65 in the shop right now. So it's a little cool to be using a slow hardener. It's eventually going to do its thing. It's just a matter of, you know, how many days I'm gonna have to wait for that to actually happen. But I do have high hopes that this is gonna work out well. Even if there is some spring back, it's not gonna be the end of the world. It's still gonna be, I'm still gonna be able to work with it. So as of right now, I think this is going to end up being a win, but we'll see on Monday. I think I'm gonna pull it off this form here Monday morning and see what happens. Now, another update that I've been wanting to do here for the last few weeks is I wanted to do an update on how well some of these varnish pieces are holding up. Now, these pieces have been sitting out here in the sun for about 3 months, 2 or 3 months, I believe. I did these sample pieces about a week or two before I actually did the varnishing video. Offhand, I don't remember what the date of that one was, but they've been out here pretty much all summer long. And if I remember right, I believe this is the Halcyon. This is the water-based one. And overall, I mean, nothing is failing. The finish is not lifting or anything like that, but it is starting to get, you know, it's not holding the color of the wood perfectly. I mean, that's why it's starting to look a little spotty here. So, granted, you know, this only had, I believe, 2 or 3 coats. So all of these really, well, to be honest, none of these samples had adequate number of coats for, you know, for good protection. But this one, you know, even though water-based, I gotta say, I think it looks pretty good. Now this one over here, this is the Gleam, the 2.0. This one seems to be holding up the absolute best. There's no discoloration, no lifting, or anything like that. So far, the Gleam 2.0, that one seems to be holding up the best. And this one over here, I believe this is the Lust, the Lust varnish. And here again, it's not lifting or failing yet, but it is starting to show some, hopefully it's showing up on camera here, but it is starting to show some fading of the wood, you know, kind of beneath the varnish, starting to change a little bit color. So as of right now, I gotta say that the Gleam 2.0 seems to be what is holding up the best so far. And going back and looking over I guess the sample board that I put together for that video, I remember the Gleam, the one that is actually seems to be holding up the best outside. I remember the Gleam being the one that I preferred working with the most. Mainly because the Gleam went on more like a traditional varnish. It was already very thin. You didn't have to do any additional thinning to it. It just flowed out really well, and it was just easier to work with. Now the Lust, you're supposed to thin that, and I did not for that video, and it was just, it worked. It went on really, really thick, and you're supposed to thin it, or I should say, it's strongly recommended that you thin it, and I did not. You know, I just wanted to see what the working characteristics were going to be just right out of the can without having to do any additional work. And the Gleam was the one that I enjoyed working with the most, and that seems to be the one that's holding up the best. Now, the close second on that video was the Halcyon, just because that's the water-based one, and I think I had mentioned that that would probably be my go-to if I was going to be doing some interior work, you know, where the smell and the fumes were going to be an issue. But for exterior, I think I gave the winning hat to the Gleam, and I gotta say, I'm happy with how it's holding up so far out there. Now, granted, this is Wisconsin sun; it's not like South Florida sun, but even still, for what, 2 or 3 coats that I have on there, not bad at all. So because of the bit of a whirlwind that I had with, you know, trying to get the truck situated and trying to get the glass work, you know, done and recorded and everything for the video coming out on Monday, my cleaning skills this week have been absolutely dismal. I haven't cleaned or put anything away for over 2 weeks, and I've got tools and crap everywhere. I mean, this is getting to the point right now where it's just, I don't even want to come out to the shop just because it just gives me anxiety. So today, tomorrow, I'm just gonna take a few hours and just get everything clean, just because it makes it a whole lot easier to find stuff when you need it, and it's a lot more enjoyable to be out here working when it's everywhere you look just isn't an absolute complete mess. I hate mess. So this weekend, Mama and the girls took off to go camping. So they're gone, well, they left last night, so Friday, Saturday, and they'll be back again tomorrow on Sunday. So spending a little bit of extra time down here is gonna work out pretty well, but more importantly, or I should say, one thing that I'm more excited about than anything is that I'm actually gonna be able to get a little bit of playtime when I get home, whatever time that's gonna be. So one of the things I've got on my agenda today is I've had some strips of beef that I've had marinating in it's a Dr. Pepper jalapeno marinade, and I'm gonna try and redeem myself on smoking some jerky. Now I got a smoker this spring. And the very first thing that I tried was to make some jerky, because I figured, well, that's gonna be the easiest thing to do. How do you screw up making jerky, right? Well, I did. It was bad. It was pretty bad, to the point where, you know, I'm not that picky of an eater for most things, but it was so bad I couldn't even eat it. I mean, it was bad. I didn't do the marinade right. I didn't leave it marinate long enough. It was bad, and I should have known better. I think I put in like 20 pounds of jerky for my first attempt. Every single shelf was full. I think I've got 5 shelves inside the smoker. Every single one was loaded and full, top to bottom, and the whole thing just got wasted. And so that was a bit deflating on the confidence scale. You know, since then everything else has worked out pretty well. You know, I've done you know, roasts and chops and fish and you know all the normal barbecue stuff, and all those have turned out really, really well. But I have yet to be able to make good jerky, and that just blows my mind. I mean, jerky should be one of the easiest things to make, right? But it hasn't. So round 2, jerky 2.0. This stuff has been marinating for 3 days, and I followed the recipe for the marinade to a T. Reduced it by half. Put all the ingredients, fresh jalapenos from the garden. This should be good. I looked at it this morning, and it looks right. I originally was going to hold off on trying and get the smoking done tomorrow, but it's starting. It looks like when I opened the lid, it just talked to me and said, "Today's the day." So when I get home, I'm going to get the smoker fired up and get that taken care of, and I'll let everybody know. If you're curious to see how it turns out, I'll let you know. So I think that's about all the updates I've got for this week. I gotta go out and cut the lawn or cut the grass for probably what's gonna be the last time this season, and then do a quick cleanup, get this video turned around, and then go home and fire up the smoker. So again, hope everybody's having a great weekend. I hope everybody on the East Coast didn't get beat up too bad by Dorian. Turns out the Bahamas did not fare so well, so hopefully everybody stateside here is doing well, and it's kind of you know, already blown by and without too many issues. You know, I'm sure that there are still people without power, but hopefully nobody was hurt, and you know, life will get back to normal here very soon. So again, have a great weekend, and the video for this for this fiberglass mold thing, that's gonna be coming out Monday afternoon, so keep an eye out for that. And until then, have a great weekend, and I'll see you then.